Hi, I'm Scott. In this video, I'm going to do a brief overview of the company and their products, these home use arcade cabinets. The company's name is called Arcade1UP. This video is part of a series of videos I'll do on the products that are manufactured by the company Arcade1UP. Now, Arcade1UP, they burst onto the scene in the fall of 2018, right around September. They released their first wave of cabinets, and they're basically trying to hit the Christmas season. Now, I'm going to provide some information, in my opinions, based on my research and my personal usage that I've had with these products over the last 3 months of 2018 and January 2019. Now, over the last 15 years, I've had numerous full-size pinball machines in my game room in my basements, and several of these full-size arcade cabinets in my game room in my basement. So I do have experience in this area. So I think it allowed me to do a really fair analysis of these video arcade cabinets being produced by Arcade1UP in comparison with the full-size arcade cabinets that we're used to thinking of from the 80s and 90s. So one of the keys here is trying to understand which niche market is Arcade1UP trying to sell their video arcade cabinets to. Are they trying to sell it to toys for kids? Are they trying to sell them as toys for adults? Are they trying to sell them as arcade cabinets for video arcade enthusiasts for nostalgia? Or are they trying to sell them to arcade purists? So we'll address all that in this video. In the fall of 2018, Arcade1UP released their first set of cabinets. They're trying to gear them up for the Christmas holiday season. The price points for these cabinets were initially the suggested retail price of $3.99. Walmart quickly changed that. They said, nope, we're going to sell these cabinets at retail for $2.99. But then you had Black Friday specials that were as low as $150. And then after Christmas, you had clearance sales that were anywhere from $250 to $199. For Wave 1, there were 4 main cabinets: the Asteroids cabinet, the Centipede cabinet, the Street Fighter cabinet, and the Rampage cabinet. The Asteroids cabinet contained 4 games: Asteroids, Major Havoc, Lunar Lander, and Tempest. The Centipede cabinet contained 4 games: Centipede, Crystal Castles, Missile Command, and Millipede. The Rampage cabinet contains 4 games: Rampage, Gauntlet, Joust, and Defender. The Street Fighter II cabinet contained 3 games: the Champion Edition, Super Street Fighter II Turbo, and Super Street Fighter II The New Challenge. There were also 2 additional cabinets that were produced to be exclusively distributed by Walmart. That is Pac-Man and Galaga. The Pac-Man cabinet came with 2 games, Pac-Man and Pac-Man Plus. The Galaga cabinet came with 2 games, Galaga and Galaxians. There was also a special cabinet produced to be exclusively sold by other retailers such as Home Depot, Best Buy, and Kohl's. It was a combination of the games on the Asteroids cabinet and the Centipede cabinet, along with 4 other games. This cabinet is known as the 12-in-1 cabinet. In its game list is Asteroids, Lunar Lander, Major Havoc, Tempest, Centipede, Crystal Castles, Missile Command, Millipede, Asteroids Deluxe, Gravatar, Liberator, and Quantum, for a total of 12 games. Since this is actually a combination of 2 different cabinets, the price point for this game was a little bit higher. It was suggested retail price of $3.99. And the 8th cabinet, and the last cabinet of Wave 1, was a cabinet that was released to be exclusively distributed by Costco. It was called the Asteroids Deluxe 6-in-1 cabinet. The game list for the Asteroids Deluxe 6-in-1 is Asteroids Deluxe, Lunar Lander, Asteroids, Major Havoc, Gravatar, and Tempest. The big deal with this cabinet is it came with a stool. Now, there were some issues between Arcade1UP and Costco, so Costco discontinued this quickly after it put on its store shelves. So these are kind of collector items if you can come up with them. However, Arcade1UP did assure the customers that they're going to re-release these cabinets in 2019. So Arcade1UP is selling their cabinets as a 3/4 scale arcade cabinet, which includes the riser, the 12-inch riser. Now, a full-size arcade cabinet is 72 inches high, 26 inches wide, and 25 to 32 inches deep, and they weigh about 300 pounds. Now, there's another type of full-size arcade cabinet out there called a cabaret, and these are a little bit smaller in design, and they were made to fit in smaller spaces in arcades and to be more adequate for children. These dimensions of these cabaret cabinets are 55 inches high, about 21 inches wide, and about 24 inches deep, and they come in about 190 pounds. And then you come up with the Arcade1UP cabinet dimensions, and they are roughly 46 inches high, 19 to 20 inches wide, and about 24 inches deep, and they come in at about 63 pounds. Now, the monitor that came in a classic video arcade cabinet was a 19-inch CRT. CRTs are heavy. The cabarets, they came with a 15-inch CRT. Once again, a heavy CRT. And the Arcade1UP cabinets, they come in with a 17-inch LCD panel, which is lightweight. This riser I keep talking about, it's an add-on. It's something else you have to purchase. It gives your Arcade1UP cabinet an extra 12 inches of height. The retail price of these risers are between $40 and $45. So, the Arcade1UP cabinet with the riser, where does it fit with size? Its size is somewhere between a cabaret arcade cabinet and a full-size arcade cabinet. Here are some pictures and some videos to demonstrate its size. Hey, in this video clip, I want to show you some interesting measurements about the cabinets for the Video Arcade 1 cabinet versus a full-size Video Arcade cabinet. So there's no doubt that the Video Arcade 1 cabinet is smaller, much smaller than a full-size Video Arcade cabinet. However, if you look at some of the key measurements, the height of the control panel from the ground. Now, this is an Arcade 1 cabinet with the riser, the 12-inch riser. But look where the control panel, it is basically at the exact same level as a full-size video arcade cabinet. Another measurement that's interesting, here's the center of the screen on the Arcade1UP cabinet. It is at the exact same location as the center of the screen of a classic full-size video arcade cabinet. So even though this looks smaller, from a gameplay, you're almost at the exact same place you would be at a full-size video arcade cabinet. Now, what you are missing, notice how this extra height? This is space. This is space that's being taken up by the full-size video arcade cabinet. It's irrelevant to gameplay. And down here, the space below the coin door, you don't take in coins at home, so there's no need for all of that. But the key things, the key measurements that are important, the control panel height from the floor and the center of the screen, they're exactly the same. Now, when we're talking about the screen, there is a subtle difference. The screen on the Arcade1UP, it is more straight up and down, where the screen for a full-size arcade cabinet, they slant backwards a little bit, okay? So your eye is focusing right there, where on a video arcade cabinet, it's more like that and your eye is focusing like that. There's a subtle difference there in the way the screen is laying down in this cabinet and standing more straight up in this cabinet. Now, there is a guy online who's actually modified his Arcade1UP cabinet to let his screen lay back some. So there's ways to mimic that if you want to go that route. There are definitely some advantages to the size of the Arcade1UP cabinet. You can sit down to play the video games, which is nice. You can also stand up and play the video games. You'll need the riser for that. Kids, they're not intimidated by the small size of the arcade cabinet game. The kids, they can play without a stool. The small footprint of the cabinet, this makes it better for home use. The weight at 63 pounds, it's easy to move around the house. There's multiple games per cabinet. It's easy to assemble the cabinet. The games are set to free play. You don't need any quarters. The arcade controls and sounds, they're authentic. The artwork is nice as it's a licensed product. And the arcade cabinet size itself, it's really the size of a cabaret arcade cabinet. Let me just state the obvious here. Playing games on an arcade cabinet, that's not the same experience as playing games on a console system, such as Xbox, PlayStation, or Nintendo. The Arcade1UP cabinets, they're really nice as a toy for kids to stand and play. They're really nice as a toy for adults to sit down and play. They're really nice as a toy for adults to stand and play, as long as you got that 12-inch riser. And they're really nice for your home arcade, for an arcade enthusiast. They're really nice for home use as their quality, their build, and their ruggedness. They're perfect for home use. There are a lot of positive reasons to go purchase an Arcade1UP cabinet. Number one is for nostalgia. You'll get a lot of nostalgia out of playing those 80s and 90s classic arcade games. You'll get a lot of usage out of this product for a few months. And just like anything else, you'll get bored with it and it'll start collecting dust. But you'll bring that thing back out for parties, for birthday parties and holidays. The footprint is nice. It's just small. And of course the price. The price is right. Anywhere from $200 to $300. One thing's for sure. These Arcade1UP cabinets, they are not for purists. The purists, they won't like the smallish size of this cabinet. They won't like the controls. The controls are made for home use, not for industrial strength use out in the wild. They won't like that the monitor is just a little bit smaller than what's on a full-size arcade. They won't like that it's missing the coin door. And they're going to miss the weight, that 300 pounds. They like that better than 63 pounds. But most of all, they're going to miss are the smells, the odors, the cigarette smokes, the graffiti, all that come with a full-size arcade cabinet. So you arcade purists, you 1%ers, you're not going to like these Arcade1UP cabinets. So you keep searching for those big, expensive, full-size arcade cabinets with broken monitors or monitors that burn in, that have worn-out controls that you're going to have to replace anyway, with damaged artwork that you're going to have to replace, and cabinets that are heavy, super heavy, and difficult to get in and out of your house. Over the years, I've had several full-size arcade cabinets in my basement game room. Most notably, Asteroids. I've since sold that Asteroids. It was a fiasco. It was heavy. It was hard to get up and down the steps in my basement. It was hard to keep running as it needed a cap kit. And that vector monitor, that is a beast, and that needed surgery, and those are almost impossible to keep running. They are not dependable. I currently have one full-size arcade cabinet in my basement, a Data East Bad Dudes. I modified it to play vertical games that are part of an Arcade 60-in-1 board. I'll have a link to that conversion video in the comments down below. I would like to have some other full-size arcade cabinets that would play like horizontal games or games with non-traditional control panels, such as a trackball or a spinner or a flight stick and yoke. But I'm having an issue finding good quality used full-size arcade cabinets. People are asking a small fortune for them. Plus, I'll need to replace the monitor and the internal electronics, which all end up costing me about $1,000 per cabinet. I could build one from scratch, but I don't have the woodworking tools or the skills, or most importantly, the time to undertake that challenge. I would still like to do this, but the cost, well, I'd spend a lot for the wood, the monitor, the control panel, which are the joysticks and buttons, the artwork package, and time. Now, I could purchase a new cabinet kit that doesn't come with a monitor, but this is where I'd be stuck at, as the current pricing scheme is similar to finding an old full-size arcade cabinet and doing a restore on it. During the last 3 months of 2018, my emotions were all over the place in regards to these Arcade1UP cabinets. Initially, I was hopeful that Arcade1UP would be able to provide me a nice cabinet with artwork and a monitor at an affordable price. That after I got bored with the games in it, that I would swap out the electronics with a Raspberry Pi and RetroPie and set up several emulation cabinets. That hopefulness turned to very doubtful as I started seeing pictures being posted out on the internet about how short, how small these cabinets would be. Yikes! Then my emotions swung back to being hopeful as I saw people starting to use the Arcade1UP cabinets with the 12-inch risers. Things were looking up. They were standing tall finally. Doubt crept back into my emotions as there was more and more information getting out on the internet, and I started hearing about the subpar controls, the joysticks, the buttons, and most importantly, the spinner. However, all those things are relatively inexpensive and they're pretty easy to replace. I've done it numerous times. As the 2018 Christmas season approached, people started getting these games in their homes and they started producing reviews of them on YouTube. My emotions swung back to hopeful as the monitor continued to get good feedback and the cabinet artwork got good feedback and the customer support, well, it kind of got good feedback, kind of got some bad feedback, but that's been fixed. So I started focusing on what was important to me. I could deal with replacing the control panel pieces, the joysticks, the buttons, the spinner, and the trackball, as I'd have to do that if I bought a full-size arcade cabinet anyway. The gameplay was important. They used the original ROM set. This is the big deal because that's the same gameplay you'd get in a full-size arcade cabinet. The weight, the small weight of 63 pounds, that was important to me to have in my home environment. I really was tired of moving around those 300-pound beasts. The riser. With the riser, the cabinets are about the size of a cabaret arcade cabinet. And I'm okay with that. I played a number of them over the years, so I could settle for that. That's not that big a deal to me. And finally, without the risers, this was a benefit I didn't know until I started playing the games with my own hands, is I kind of like sitting down. I'm 55 years old. Sitting down playing an arcade cabinet for an hour or two, that's a lot nicer than standing up. It was early January, and I decided there was more positive than negative about these Arcade1UP video arcade cabinets. They met nearly all of my criteria, so I'd give them a try. If I liked them, that'd be awesome. If I disliked them, then I would unload them and just chalk it up as a financial loss, as a learning experience. To my good fortune, one of the local Walmarts had a pallet full of these Arcade1UP cabinets, which they did not sell during the Christmas season. They marked them down on clearance for $200. I purchased an Asteroids cabinet and a Rampage cabinet. I'll produce some videos on my experience with these cabinets in the future. I purchased a riser for each cabinet at $45. I still think this is way too expensive. Something like that should be like $25 to $30. Out on the internet, and especially YouTube, you'll find a lot of channels that will support you with these Arcade1UP cabinets. One of the big ones is Glenn Planamento. He demonstrates a lot of the Arcade1UP cabinets and how to perform the upgrades, including the USB plug change that will allow you to have access to the main menu, and more importantly, the upgrades to the arcade style spinner replacement for the arcade cabinet and the 12-in-1 cabinet. There's a YouTube channel, Cool Toy, and this guy, he previews a lot of the Arcade1UP products, and he deals with a lot of rumors out there that are floating around. There's the channel The Toy Room by James, aka JP. He does informational Arcade1UP videos that does updates on what's going on with the company and their products. There's ETA Prime. Now his main focus is on the Raspberry Pi, the RetroPie products, and he demonstrates how to implement those into your Arcade1UP cabinets. So it's pretty cool how you can do game emulations inside those cabinets now. There's Barry Sneaky, who doesn't have a lot of content, but what he does have is important. He's responsible for identifying the USB hack that lets you get into the main games and options on several of the cabinets, such as Asteroids, the 12-in-1, and Rampage. There's a very active Facebook group out there. It's called the Official Arcade1UP Fan Page. And you want to check that out because there's all kinds of information about these cabinets, about how to do mods to them and how to do maintenance, and check out if there's any issues with them. Arcade1UP does have a customer support number you can contact. In Q4 they were having a lot of issues, but apparently in Q1 2019 it's been resolved. I've personally contacted them and I didn't have any issues. Alright, that wraps up this video. An overview of the video arcade cabinets produced by Arcade1UP. My research and analysis pretty much proved that for my specific needs, these cabinets by Arcade1UP, they're gonna fit the bill for my game room in my basement. So I went ahead and purchased the Rampage cabinet and the Asteroids cabinet. I got these on sale, got them at clearance at Walmart. I paid $200 a cabinet, and then I went ahead and bought the risers, and I paid $45 a riser. Now to some folks, that may seem kind of pricey, but the alternatives of buying and restoring a used full-size arcade cabinet, this is much more cheaper to buy the Arcade1UP cabinets, much cheaper. Now I have a feeling, and it's being proved out by many YouTube channels, that hobbyists, geeks, enthusiasts, they're purchasing these cabinets and they're playing the games on these cabinets, but then they're doing cabinet conversions and they're putting like an arcade 60-in-1 board in there or 19-in-1 board like I did with my Bad Dudes game. They're converting these cabinets, okay? They're putting Raspberry Pis in them, they're putting Pandora's boxes, and they're putting all kinds of games, but they paid their $200 to $300 basically for the cabinet and the artwork. So in the comment section below, let me know what you think about the purchase I made of my two Arcade1UP cabinets, the Rampage cabinet and the Asteroids cabinet. In the comment section, you can also let me know which classic video arcade game do you like the best? And if you could have any cabinet made, which classic video arcade cabinet would you like for Arcade1UP to make? Now be sure to stay tuned to my YouTube channel if you're interested in these Arcade1UP video cabinets, because I'll be making mods to my Asteroids cabinets. I'll be making mods to my Rampage cabinets. Who knows, I may be getting another Video Arcade 1 cabinet, maybe doing my own cabinet conversion. But if you stay tuned to my YouTube channel, you'll get all that information. Who knows, I may even get a cabinet, do a cabinet conversion to create my own dedicated Defender Video Arcade cabinet. All right, don't forget to click on the subscribe button below. And if you want to get updates automatically when I add content to my YouTube channel, don't forget to ring that bell. All right, if you like this video, click on the thumbs up. If you dislike this video, click on the thumbs down. And if you got any feedback, leave them in the comments section below. All right, have a great day. And don't forget to go out there and play some classic video arcade games.